So, welcome everyone. I'm really excited tonight to introduce you to Jill Collins, our special guest for the month. She is going to talk to us about home exchanges, which I know people are very eager to learn more about, especially at this time when we're preparing to start traveling again. Jill is a way shower, a connector, and an innovator who's dedicated to weaving what's possible into the everyday. Driven by the belief that everyone has a message to share, Jill is dedicated to bringing out the very best in people by helping them to see value in their unique experiences and have the confidence and tools to give back to others. Now, the thing about very accomplished people is that they have very long bios, and that is certainly the case with tonight's speaker. And I'm just going to tell you about a couple of Jill's current projects. Most recently, she launched Your Best Business, or YBB, which is a mentorship program with her partner, Preston Brown. And their emphasis is to help business owners who are challenged with starting up or those who have an existing business that is struggling. Since launching YBB in 2021, they've helped countless clients rapidly fix debilitating problems and reach new levels of income using their proprietary system. Jill is also the owner and CEO of an international coaching practice that she founded after unexpectedly losing her husband. She helps widows and divorcees take charge of their lives and master their finances after the loss of a partner. As a certified life and wealth strategist, it's Jill's mission to help the women she serves to know where they stand financially, have healthier personal relationships, and as a result, make better life decisions. The part of her bio that has drawn you all here tonight is that she is an avid traveler and has done over 30 home exchanges. Traveling is one of her favorite activities. She also enjoys great food and cultural experiences. I think we will be very simpatico there. She loves to walk and explore beautiful cities, and she's going to tell us all about how she incorporates home exchanges into her travel plans tonight. So welcome, Jill.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you. It's so nice to see everyone. I would love to see, Sue, I'm looking at Pat. There's so many beautiful people here tonight, and I'd love to see cameras on. Can everyone turn on cameras? It means so much to me to be able to see your faces because we don't connect enough as it is. So if you can turn your camera on, it'd be lovely to see you. And thank you for those who have. I'm just excited to be here. I want to take a second to honor you and thank you for the time, for giving of your time. It means a lot to me. And I know you're going to get so much out of this because we're all in the same space right now. We've all been in the space of we want to travel again, or we used to travel, and maybe we feel like we're afraid to get back out there. And I just want to give you I want to give some hope and some excitement that it's possible, and there's some really cool ways to do it. So I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Tracy and Janice and all of you.
Great. Well, let's dive right in. How did you first discover home exchanges? How did that first come to you?
Yeah. That was the first question you asked me in the questionnaire, and I was like, I can't remember. I don't know if someone told me about it or what, but my husband at the time and it was probably back in mid-2000s, and we were traveling, wanting to travel more, and we were staying in hotels, and it was before Airbnb, right? So we were thinking we wanted a bigger place to stay, and maybe we heard about it from someone reached out to us. I remember the first home exchange. It was actually in Florida, in Miami, and we met the person. The person came to our house first, and then we left that afternoon. We exchanged keys as we left our house, and so it was a really good exchange. But I can't remember exactly how I heard about it. But there is the movie, of course, The Holiday. So if you haven't seen The Holiday, that's a great movie. I've seen it 100 times. I just love it, and I have to tell you, it's a little bit dramatic. Obviously it's Hollywood. But it's very true. This happens. This is the kind of thing. These things happen. It's true.
Well, if I remember correctly, that film had a little bit of romance in it.
Well, there is that too, and yeah, we won't get into that part. But yes, I have experienced a little bit of that as a single person since the fact. But yes, anything's possible with home exchange.
That would be a great slogan.
That's the part two of this call. We'll do this another time on how to meet people. And I used to have a matchmaking service, so yes, after, but so yeah, that's another. We can do that another call.
Okay.
Spicing it up tonight. Here we go.
So where was your first home exchange?
It was in Sunny Isles Beach. And then we did another one very shortly after that in Chicago in a penthouse, and it was amazing. Well, both of them are penthouses, actually. I think it's always the excitement of going into a new house or a new place. There's a little bit of nervousness and apprehension, but when you get there and you see this place and you're just going like, oh my gosh, like this is where I'm staying. Like if you've seen the Holiday, and remember when she showed up at her place in Beverly Hills and she's like jumping up and down on the bed and everything. I mean, that's the kind of, I've had those experiences so many times. And, it's, I'll get into like the mechanics, and if you have questions on that, I'm happy to elaborate more. I mean, I think it's interesting to know where I've been, but I would love to get into some of the mechanics too, if you're really serious about home exchange and kind of what to look for, because I think that's really where there's value too. But yes, it is, you'll see some places that are incredible. And then there are times you'll have some that you're just kind of like, not quite what I thought, so you have to just sort of be flexible, and either back out. We've only done that once in 35 home exchanges, but that's a pretty good track record. And the others, you just kind of go, okay, not what I thought. How can I make this good?
Okay. And what was, as a first-time home exchanger, what was that experience like?
I think then it wasn't as popular. Today, the websites are much easier. There's a lot more history, a lot more data that they've been able to put together in the format of how it's done and structured. So I used to make my own agreements and then send it and have them sign it. So we kind of it wasn't really an agreement, but it was more of like, here's what I'm going to have, here's what you're going to have, here's what you're committing to do. And today, a lot of that is already on the websites. They're done for you. So it's a lot easier today than it was then. Just basic things like, I don't know, I have to, how many bedrooms, how many people are coming, the names. Because sometimes you'll say, I'm the only person coming, but then say you want to bring a friend. Or you want to bring two friends. And did you say it up front? So you want to kind of clarify that. So I think knowing that and telling them up front what you're going to do really helps. And then they know it's not just, I see there are 3 bedrooms available, so I can bring as many people as I want. And a lot of people don't care, but it's think about how you would want to be treated. And I think that's what's so beautiful about home exchange versus, say, Airbnb. When you're paying money for something, we feel more entitled, and we don't think about it the same way. But you're literally lending your house to a friend. And so people naturally take better care of your things when they know you're staying in their home and they're staying in yours. If I've broken something, I'm like frantic trying to find. I've broke a coffee pot from a coffee maker. The glass pot, and you can't just go buy another one of those. So I ordered it. I found one on Amazon, the exact one, and had it shipped to their house. And it arrived before they did, so they didn't miss anything. Whereas if I'm at an Airbnb, I'm probably not thinking the same way. That's what the beautiful thing about home exchanges is, that I think people take more care of your property and you do of theirs when there's a person on the other side of that who has a vested interest in you and your place.
Right. That's a really good point, because even with a lot of Airbnbs are not people's homes, right? They don't actually live there. They're investment properties or, that sort of thing. But this is actually literally moving into someone's home.
Sometimes, a lot of times, and they will stay on the website if this is a second home. So that. Now, for me personally, I don't know if I put that in the questionnaire, and I don't know if you shared those questions or the answers, but for me, I prefer someone's primary home. I've done secondary homes, and you get that, where it's like the dishes in the kitchen, or maybe just, they've set it up for rental. Whereas my personal home, I have like my French crystal, I have my silverware, they have access to everything, and I'm staying in theirs and they have the same. So it just depends. This is nitpicky stuff. These are things that I wouldn't worry too much about when you're first exchange. Don't want to overcomplicate it, but just things as you start to do some, you'll see some differences. And yeah, those are that kind of, there are differences, and they do have secondary homes. And some people prefer to not use their primary home and to only exchange with their secondary home.
Okay. And so tell me whether this is correct or not, because I was talking to Janice about this today, and I'm not sure where I picked it up, but my understanding of home exchanges today is that you're frequently not exchanging your home with someone else at the same time. Is that-
Okay, yes, and this is a newer thing, and this is totally optional to you, for you. Then let me back up. The site that I use primarily, and I think it's the largest, it is the largest site, and it's probably the longest, the Good Housekeeping Seal of Approval type exchange site that I would recommend is homeexchange.com. And I think I had the link in the article.
Yes.
If you're considering it, I did get an email from them, sidebar, the other day that they said they're going to be increasing their price from $135 a year, $135 US dollars to $179 US dollars after May something. So you may want to go ahead and take advantage of, if you're thinking about it, do it before May, whatever that date is. I can get that exact date for you later, but that's something. But that site is really good because they oh my gosh, I lost my train of thought. We were talking about oh yes, the direct exchange. So if I'm going to say Kathy has a really awesome home, I'm going to say, Kathy, hey, do you want to exchange with me? And we have this conversation back and forth, and we exchange. That's a direct exchange. Homeexchange.com now has a points system where you can opt in to do that or not. So you can earn points by letting people stay in your home when you're not there, and you don't go into their place. You just get points for it. Now, a lot of people do that when they have second homes that maybe, say, off season aren't as busy, and they can just rack up points, and then they can use those points for any other house for people who accept points. I don't do points. I want that direct exchange, but that's optional. So you may find that's really beneficial for you. I have used points before when I've needed to really go somewhere and someone was only doing points, and I was going to go to Sydney, and I was right before COVID, and I'm like, this person said, we'll take points. I'm like, great, I have enough points. So I actually had points, and so I was going to use them for that, but I don't usually do that for my home.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's an option. Yep, it's optional.
Okay. So you have multiple businesses, and I think you sort of work internationally. So do you often, do home exchanges and work as you go, or do you largely use it for vacations?
I've used it mostly for vacation, but the way my business is, I'm always kind of on, and I do have times when I'm, disconnect, but that's the beauty of having a business where I have the freedom to shut down and when I need to. So I would say I don't usually use it for business, but I know people who do. The upside is if you use it for business, I guess you can write off the annual membership fee, but you're not paying anything anyway. So it just depends on what There's really no. I've been in major cities where there are tons of them in New York City. So if you're going to New York City and you want to use it for business, sure, why not? Yeah.
Right. Okay.
A couple of questions.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Couple of questions, yes. So one was about the website. So homeexchange.com, that's been around for a very long time, because I remember, researching it almost before the internet. It feels like that long, right? But another question is, what if you have in quotes, normal house?
I saw that. I was looking at that as well, and that's totally normal. I think here's the thing. You have a normal house, as you would say. Guess what? There are a lot of people who have normal houses. There are a lot of people who have kids, who have playrooms, who have their kids have their toys out. That's the difference with an exchange and an Airbnb, is you're exchanging a lot of times with someone who's just like you, who has a family, who has kids, or whatever the situation is. And you just find those people. Let me say this, Home Exchange, the website, is very much like a dating service, like a dating website, like a site, like where you set up a profile for yourself, or like a Facebook page where you set up your profile and then you say some things about yourself. You're basically showing off your best self, but your best version of your house. So you're wanting to say things about it. So when you're showing your pictures, and you want to have really good pictures, first of all, these are some of my tips, and I'm happy to share this in an article after, or put it in a blog or something, but definitely have professional photos done. You're going to increase your chances of getting better exchanges. The ones I always pass on are ones that have 2 or 3 pictures or no pictures. I won't even look at ones with no pictures. ones where, you know, I'll pass on ones where there's like a cleaning bucket in the background and food and things all around. You know, clean your house up a little bit when you're taking the photos, having the photos done. Make it appealing. You want to make it, you know, you want to look at your site and say, would I stay in my house looking at that, you know, and would this be of interest to someone? And then you try to find someone who is like you that would want that house. So you have the ability to do a reverse search where you can say people who are looking to come to my city and what they're looking for, and then you search from there, because there are, I don't remember even now how many sites are on Home Exchange. Was it, I don't know the number. It was 80,000 a long time ago, but I know there's a lot more now worldwide. And so you want to not waste your time skimming through ones that they're never going to be coming to your city. Start with that. Start with the ones that they're going to want to come to your city. And then there are some that are just saying open to any exchange. So you don't want to miss those either. So start with that first thing, then go to open to any exchange and pick your parameters of what you're looking for. But it really starts with your profile. Actually, that's not true. The first thing you want to do is let's just go look at the site, because it's really exciting. You can start dreaming and looking at amazing places that you can go. And then when you get excited about it, then start thinking about it. You can sign up and you can look at and set up your profile, and then really see what other people are doing, and see how they put it together.
Okay, that's it's interesting when you say look at the site first and start dreaming. It made me wonder whether people ever choose their destination after they've seen they you choose the destination.
No, all the time,
first.
all the time,
Yeah.
all the time. I'm looking for a place in Cartagena, Colombia for this summer, and so first thing I did was I went to Airbnb. I don't know why, and then I said, oh my gosh, this place is amazing. And then a day went by and I thought, Home Exchange, duh. So then I went to Home Exchange and I started looking at Cartagena. And I was going out of town the next day, so I just hearted some of those places I liked. And I thought, I'll go back the next day or when I get back from my trip, and I'll just start connecting with those people and sending a note. And they give you like a pre-written, you know, thing you can write, or you can do one and then copy it, and then you can just basically copy paste. So you're not like retyping each individual email. So you want to blanket several people. Don't just send one. You want to, this is like a numbers game. It's like you're selling. You want to sell, you know, send it to a lot. Because I would say you'll get, for every 20 you send, you might get one maybe that will say, yeah, I might be interested, or yeah, or tell me when you want to come. And sometimes, I mean, I did one for, where was I going? And I sent out like 60 and I got like one. So, I mean, it just depends on what the timing is, and it was COVID, you know, so it just depends, right? So you want to just blanket it. And then you can always come back and say, you know, oh, I thought I liked you, but I'm not really sure. And then you can say, oh, I already found an exchange, or I'm still thinking about it, or our dates have changed. But make the initial offer, or not offer, but just, hey, I'm interested in your home. We're thinking about, my husband and I, we live in blah, 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 and we're considering this. And would you be interested? And then they will come back. They'll get that email with your link, with your profile in an email. And then they look at it and they go, wow. Now, so I said that story about Cartagena when I liked those. And this has actually never happened to me before, but there was one I really liked, and I went, oh my gosh, I've got to send a note to this guy. This house, this condo, it's amazing. And so I thought to myself, heart it, and then I'll come back. The next day, the guy you get an email saying this person liked your home. And so he responded to me and he said, hey, I saw you liked my home. And I haven't been to I wasn't even thinking about Buenos Aires, Argentina. And I haven't been in years, but I see you're in the same neighborhood where I always go. He goes, and I saw your house and I was blown away by it. I would really love to come. And would you be able to do it February 1st through March 12th? And so he did it for me. So sometimes by just having really good pictures and does the trick. So he wasn't even thinking about it, but he saw my house. We weren't thinking about Chicago, our second exchange, but we saw that place and we were like, holy smokes, this place is awesome. What about Chicago? We've done that several times. Places that we've gone, we never would have thought about because we really liked the house and we loved it. We loved just everything about it.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so the normal house thing, that happens. Don't worry about that. And yes, can you exchange a vehicle? We've done that. Yes, once or twice we've done that. And managing of keys, lots of ways to do that. You can do a lockbox. I've had keypads in houses. I've had 450,000 homes. Thank you, Christina. That's awesome. Wow. And they were bought out. Home Exchange was bought out by another company, and then they totally just kicked it up in their website, and everything's so much better. Lockbox keys. I'll oftentimes have a friend meet them, And I'll leave a book out. I always make a book. I have a book that I had her leave out for them that has like how to use this, how to do that. And then she'll just greet them. And they get the keys. And then when they leave, they can, depending on your lock situation, you can have them leave them in the apartment, or your friend could meet them. It's up to you. You just figure out individually how it works. It depends for me on what I'm doing too, because they have something called a simultaneous exchanging and non-simultaneous. Simultaneous is where like, okay, Tracy, you and I are gonna go next Monday for a week. We're gonna each go the same time and we're week to week and that's it. All right, great. Simultaneous is like this one I just told you. This guy wants to come February 1st and I wanna go this summer. Well, he lives in London sometimes. So he's gonna be in London when I'm gonna be there in June or July, whenever we said. So then I'm not gonna be in Buenos Aires in February when he wants to go, so it's perfect. So that's a non-simultaneous, and I've done a lot more probably non-simultaneous than simultaneous exchanges, probably the majority actually.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've stayed with friends. Like if you really like an exchange and you really wanna go to that place and you know you're gonna be home, you're like, call a friend or just get on a plane and go on a trip and let that person stay in your house so you can go take advantage of that place later, right?
What about the average length of an exchange? Is there any average, or does it?
Varies. I've had people ask for an overnight, which I don't do anymore, or like 2 days. I've had months. I've seen that. I've done 2 weeks. We did a month in Australia. I've done a month in New York City, 2 weeks in New Zealand. We did one which is really fun. I love planning, so this was really tricky. I did like 2 weeks, 6 weeks total in Europe, and I had 3 exchanges linked up back to back, 2 weeks each. That was a fun juggle, let me tell you. It's like, well, okay, we're checking out here. Can you do this? So I've done a lot of that. But yeah, the timing, it's all in what you decide. See, here's the thing. Like I always say, it's like dating. So like if you meet a man and you're like, well, okay, he's short and I'm tall, or he has more money than I do, or his house is bigger than mine, it's all in what you decide and agree upon. If I really wanted to go to New York and it's a studio apartment and I have a 3-bedroom condo in a beautiful place in Buenos Aires, if I'm willing to do it, do it. It doesn't have to be, tit for tat, like, or whatever you call it, right? Apples to apples. It could also be, hey, I'm going for 3 weeks and you only need 2. Is that cool? Yeah, cool, great, no problem. So you don't have to get so hung up on like the exact number of days. I know people sometimes do that. It's like, well, you're going 6 days, so I need to go exactly 6 days. Just see what they agree to. It's negotiating.
It's really interesting because I know Janice was mentioning that we had a speaker about house sitting, and it seems very, very restrictive in terms of, the dates and there's not a lot of flexibility the way that you're talking about. So the home exchanging clearly is much more flexible and up to the people who are doing the exchanging as opposed to.
Totally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, don't be afraid to ask for what you want too. If you're not comfortable with something, do it. And there was something else about the vehicle. Yeah. If you don't have local transportation, you just, if you don't have a vehicle and they do, I've had it happen where we gave someone our vehicle and in Spain they didn't have them, but they went and rented a car for us. And we said, well, that's okay, you don't have to do that. And then they showed up with a rental car for us. I've done it where we gave them our car, these guys from New York, and they didn't have one there, but we didn't need one. You just decide, is it fair? If you get too caught up in like it's not fair or whatever, or just say my car's not available. You don't have to do a car. I've probably done a car out of all those exchanges twice that I can remember. Really, it's not a big deal. So they can rent their own car, and then 3 times, because that one I did get a flat tire on that one in New Zealand. So yeah, actually I had to get a new tire and a rim, but that's another story. So these little things happen. It's better to rent a car sometimes, I think, if you need it. It's just easier. What else do we have? Your website? Yeah.
So there's a question about references and the vetting on the site.
Right,
So
exactly.
references before you have someone come into your home?
What I do, I'm going to say this, I made a couple notes from the questionnaire that I filled out. what I love to do is there are references, and if you're new, you obviously don't have any references, right? So people are gonna have to trust you. They do verification of your phone number, your email, and all of that. And I believe you'll have to check Home Exchange's thing about what they have for insurance. I'm really not sure about that, to be honest with you. But what I always do, I guess a gut feel. I mean, women, I think we're all women on here, right? Is that, we have good intuition and instincts. So, you look at the site, check it out. If the photos are really good and they put a lot of information in there, if it's not just, great condo, 2-bedroom by the beach, okay, no. You give me more, tell me more. And then get on a call with them, get on a Zoom call with them. Talk to them like we're talking right now. Meet them. And you'll feel a lot more comfortable. You'll get a good read on somebody if you feel comfortable exchanging with them after that. Have them send more photos. If there aren't enough photos for you, send more photos. My gosh, I can't tell you how many times I've been in, like you go to not how many times, but like the bathroom or something wasn't ideal. And I want to back up and say this. I said this in the questionnaire. If you're used to like a Ritz-Carlton or a Marriott or whatever, or a Courtyard life, experience where everything's the same no matter where you go, home exchanging is not for you. If you want the same experience every time and you want it to be just this way, and the TVs are always going to work, and the kitchen's going to be completely clean, and the bathrooms are going to be just the way you like it, do not home exchange, because you will be irritated. You won't like it. Because sometimes you get there and you go, okay, gosh, the kitchen's a little dirty. It's not quite the way I want it. So you know what I do? I take a couple hours and I clean everything where I'm happy with it. Guess what? It's worth it. You got how many weeks a month staying somewhere for free in a beautiful place? To me, that's worth it. Someone says, but they're sleeping in your bed. Get separate sheets. Get sheets for them. Don't use the sheets you have. Get different pillows, whatever you have to do. Because, I mean, if you saw some of the beautiful places I've seen for free, villas in Nice, France, I mean, just, you just sit there and you drop your jaw and you're like, I don't care if they're using my pillows. I'll buy new ones. I don't care. Oh, it's worth it. So really, because at the end of the day, you're paying for your flight and then you're staying in someone's home. So you're saving money on eating out at restaurants three meals a day. And you can enjoy a full house versus a hotel room. Beautiful.
What about pets? If one has pets at home or one wants to travel with their pet, is that like a deal breaker? Or is that again one of those things like, well, if it works for them, if it works for you?
Yep. Exactly. Ask them. I've fed animals. They said, will you feed our cats, water our plants? Yep. Definitely. Another thing on there is kids or no kids. Personally, I don't have kids in my homes because I just have things that are kind of breakable. That cuts back on a lot of people that'll exchange with me. But then those that do, we have the same kind of place. So it's sort of that you're looking for people that are like the way you are, and so the way that you like to live. And so all those things are up for negotiation. I think that's really helpful. What else do we have here? The home exchange insurance. Oh yeah, a golden retriever and Siamese cat. Oh, I love Siamese cats. Again, just tell them you have that in the description. And a lot of people would be great with that. And sometimes I've had people say, well, if you're not okay with that, I can put them in a kennel. I have a friend that'll take care of them. Just everything's negotiable. You just want to be open to making it where you're starting the conversation with someone, and then you can talk about it and you can have that thing. So a lot of the initial conversation starts with emails back and forth. And then you get to the point where you're like, okay, this is a solid deal. Hey, do you want to get on a call and let's get to know each other? Let's have a Zoom call. Let's have a FaceTime. So you don't do that right up front, right? You're kicking it around via email. It's like, well, I'm looking at these dates. Does that work for you? Oh, me too. Okay, well, I'm looking at this. And then when you come to those terms, then you can kind of go through and say, hey, let's meet before you commit.
The parallels to online dating are
it is remarkable. I mean, it really is. It really is.
What have you encountered in terms of misconceptions that people might have about home exchanging?
That people are going to pull up a big, huge truck and steal every damn thing out of your apartment or your house.
Oh, the fear of what
Everybody thinks they're just going to roll up with a moving truck and take everything you own out of there. I've never heard that happen. Never happened to me. Never had anybody steal anything. I've had people break things, but they break something. It's like, oh my God, break a champagne flute, and they couldn't find a match. So they just bought a set of 4 that were like $200. And I'm like, okay, those weren't $200, but thank you. It's like, so people go above and beyond generally to fix. I know, but I've never had that. And here's another tip, if that concerns you. And I do this myself. I take a closet and I lock it. And it's called an owner's closet. For any of you who have second homes, you might have an owner's closet and know what that is. You put things in there that you don't want people to go through. You lock your desk. You maybe you lock a closet where you have clothes. Most of the time, you just put things in there that you'd rather keep for yourself, that you don't want anybody to go through. But generally speaking, my house is like, I clean up, but I'll have in my closet with my clothes. I don't move all my clothes out of there and empty all the drawers. Heck no, that's called Airbnb, and I'm not doing that. It's too much work to come back and have to put everything back. So most people will just slide and create a section that's empty for that person where they can hang clothes. And then yours are still there. And if you don't like that, go and get another closet, put a lock on it, and take all your clothes out if you really feel like that. But nobody's going to take your clothes. And if they do, gosh, that's sad. And you just, I don't know what to say about that. But if you have really expensive dresses or suits and you're worried someone's going to steal them, put them in a separate place. But set a space aside. Clean out maybe one drawer in the bathroom, maybe a couple of drawers in your dresser so they can put things away and kind of live like they're living instead of out of a suitcase. But for the most part, you don't have to put everything away unless you really care about them and you're really concerned that they're going to go through things or they're going to take something. Never had that happen. So that's the main thing. And in food in the refrigerator, if anybody's worried about that. I don't get rid of all my condiments and empty my refrigerator. I'll have ketchups and whatever there and everything. And I've been in places where they left a takeout box in there, or it's like not the cleanest. And you know what I do? I throw out the takeout box, and I just shove everything to one side. And I told my husband, or when I travel, I'm like, this is my space, this is my food, this is where I have it, and everything that's theirs is theirs. And I leave it. I push it to the side. Same thing with cabinets. With food, just to have a little space. If they have their pantry or something, I'll put some space for things that I bought, and I'll leave their things and push it aside, or they'll leave in a little space for me. If things are dirty, and I've had this in Sydney, Australia was probably, I was just like, you're kidding me. God bless this woman, but she was just so dirty. She had a beautiful home, but her dishes, everything was dusty and just whatever. So I spent a couple hours and I just took the dishes. I'm giving you the bad side, I'm giving you the real deal here. I took the glasses I knew we were going to use, the plates I knew we were going to use, and I washed them, and I set them in a section. I said, this is the plate, this is safe, this is our stuff. Everything else, don't worry about. And then you just kind of get past it. Just get past it. And that's the kind of stuff that you'll face if you're kind of a clean freak and you just are worried about it. That's it. But people are not going to pull up a truck and steal your stuff. That's not going to happen. That's the misconception. Long answer to your question.
Okay. What's been so far your favorite home exchange experience?
Oh man, I know you asked me that in the questionnaire. I did one after my husband passed with this couple in South Africa a few years ago, and they have 3 homes, and they said they offered, I don't know if they offered 1 or 2, but they came to Buenos Aires first. I introduced them to all my friends. I had a dinner thing for them because they came the night before, and I let them stay in my guest room because the timing wasn't there. And they said, oh yeah, we'd love that. That's perfect. So I introduced them to all my friends that a couple of my friends I thought were coming on the trip with me. And so we got to know each other. We bonded. We had the best time. And then when I went, they kicked it up a notch. This is why it's good to meet people and get to know them. Is the husband picked, it was another couple, a married couple and me, 3 of us, picked us up at the Johannesburg airport, took us back to their primary home in Johannesburg, beautiful home, spent the night, took us around, toured us around, and took us over to dinner at their son's house. Beautiful barbecue, South African barbecue, very nice. The next day we drove down to this beautiful house we were going to stay for the 2 weeks out near the Kruger Park. Stunning. It came with the guy who with the housekeeper who stayed there the whole time, and they stayed another couple of days. We had so much fun. They stayed another couple of days with us. Introduced us to the neighbors. The neighbor guy owns property in this other place near Kruger Park, and he took us for the weekend on a safari that we would never have done otherwise. It was a once in a lifetime experience in a top rated, like, little resort facility type thing that he and his wife own that we never would have done. So
Wow.
like, that was amazing. Nice, France, villas, penthouses, but you just never know. You just never know. So yeah, that's one of my favorites. Have I
And
had
is
any-
there one that was your least favorite, one that didn't work?
Yeah, sure. I was looking here, is, real quick, the security deposits, no security deposits. I think it's been an honor system. I've never had to do deposits. I've had that, you kind of, when you start getting a little bit nitpicky with people, they get nitpicky back. Like, I have a housekeeper in Buenos Aires who comes once a week, and then if someone says, oh, well, the housekeeping for mine is $200, and I'm like, I mean, because I'm paying for mine and I don't charge you. You're staying in my place. So kind of just watch that. It's up to you, but like security deposits, no, they don't have that. And maybe, again, check the home exchange site to see what their insurance is. Animals, again, that's case by case. You just have to talk to the individual, because when you're representing your home, it's all on you. It's buyer, not buyer beware, but it's on you, and it's your responsibility to decide what you want and don't want. There's no like regulations based on the home exchange site. It's up to you. Major disappointments. Yeah, that one with the three in a row that I told you about, where I had 2 weeks in Europe each. We had been on a plane all night, got up, arrived in Madrid or somewhere, and then we were driving all day to try to get to that city, and it was a little town, a farmhouse. And I think I just kind of like found one that would sort of fit in date-wise, but wasn't really careful at looking like the photos. And so we got there, and it was just not really that great. And we just were like, we can't do this. And so we contacted her, and she had not been to our place yet. So we just said, this was the only time we've ever done this. We just said, I'm sorry, this is just not acceptable. And sheets were torn. There was just nothing was really in a good space. And it looked good on the outside, but not on the inside. So I learned a lesson about really checking out photos and really taking the time to meet people beforehand. But the other two were great. And so what we did with those 2 weeks, we tried to find a couple of other exchanges, and we didn't find one. But we ended up having the best time. We just found little hotels every night, little motels, and we drove all over France that we never would have done if we'd have stayed in that house for 2 weeks. So everything always works out the way it's supposed to.
That's great.
Yeah.
I was surprised when we had the speaker about house sitting, that the homeowners sometimes expected the house sitters to pay for utilities while they were there. So when you were talking about, the cost for the house cleaning, I thought it's interesting, because the house sitting, you're actually providing a service. You're not providing a service, so, with a home exchange, but with the house sitting, you're providing a service and you're expected to pay expenses. That was kind of surprising to me. I think I would prefer the home exchanging.
Yeah, well, it's true. And I think, again, it's negotiable, right? It's kind of like a date. If the guy shows up and he says, you pay your own dinner, and you don't like that, don't go out with that guy. I mean, I'm just saying, it's like if they start doing things like that, I can tell they're probably not going to be that easy to deal with. And I probably don't want to exchange with them. I probably don't want them as an exchange partner. Yeah. So there are plenty of options. Now, if it's your only option and you really, really, really want to go there, again, is it going to be worth it? You might say at the end, gosh, I really wanted to go there, and that just made it not worth it. Or you could say, I'm glad I did that, and it was worth paying the utilities. I haven't heard utilities as much as like the housekeeping. Actually, you know what? I did see one once where there was something about the electric, because it was so expensive wherever this place was. It was somewhere in an island somewhere. And I kind of went, and then I kind of passed on it. I just swiped. Yeah, I didn't swipe left. That's dating apps. But I mean, I just kind of passed on it. I kept scrolling. But yeah, they need to do a swipe right for home exchanges. That's a new idea. Yeah. So yeah, but that's it. I think that's just up to you. Everything's up to you. You're in total control with home exchanging. Okay. There's no guidelines that the home exchange says you have to do this.
So where would someone who's never done a home exchange before, where would they really start to, I mean, you mentioned that it's good, good to go to the site and have a look around and see what they have, but and good to get professional photos taken. Are there other things that, are there kind of best practices for creating your sort of profile?
Yeah, I would definitely show a friendly picture of yourself because you are actually introducing yourself too. There is a part where you say about me, who I am. So you want to make yourself friendly and tell them a little bit about what you love to do, what you're up to. That it cues you. There's all these little parts where you can fill in what to do, and check out what other people are doing. Again, when you start doing that initial shop and you're looking at things, the first step, see which sites appeal to you. What do you like? Because what you like and what I like will be different. So if you're trying to find someone and attract someone who's like you, who's going to have a house that's going to be like, so I'm saying you're looking for that similarity. Look at things that jump out at you. What did you like about what they put there? And then see that. But having your profile, saying who you are. If you're thinking about doing, this may not apply to anyone here, but maybe your listeners, I don't know. But I've thought about this when I was writing the questions or filling out the questions. When my husband and I bought our place in Buenos Aires when he was retiring, we actually bought a place much larger and in a nicer area than we would have otherwise because of home exchange. So what we thought about is we looked at the market and we said, wow, we know that the number one city where there's a ton of home exchanging, because we're business people, so we're thinking real estate wise, there's a saturation of people in Paris. So if you're looking to home exchange and you're wanting to buy something strictly for investment, a home exchange, Paris is not a place to buy because there's just tons. But we noticed is that there aren't many in Argentina. And so we said, okay, well, if we bought a place that's just smaller, that would be for us, that's great. But what if we bought a nicer one, something bigger that would accommodate more, be more attractive? What could we do with that? And so we bought that place with that in mind. And basically having Buenos Aires in a place like ours, where there's not a lot of options, basically we could exchange anywhere we wanted. I mean, I wouldn't say anywhere we wanted, but people who want to come to Argentina, right? It's still kind of not everybody's up for that, but those who are worldwide, we get a lot of offers, a lot, or I get them now, but yeah. So thinking about that if you're thinking about a second home, or if you're considering buying new real estate for something, or you're going to be moving and you're really serious about home exchanging, think about what that looks like when you're picking a place, I think.
So it's an investment in your future travel prospects.
Definitely. It's enhanced everything. I mean, we had a house in Tampa that was beautiful, and people came to it because of the house, the same thing. They saw the pictures and like, wow, I hadn't thought about Tampa, but wow, that's a beautiful house. Let's go there. But you want to have kind of that both. And I think photos, like I said, really make that difference.
Do we have any more questions from anyone else?
Not at this point, but I wanted to ask about the points and earning points. So that would be when you exchange your home, but you're actually not doing a synchronous exchange, right?
Right. So like the points that I have, I think you get points like when you create your profile, when you verify your phone number, when you verify your email, when you refer people, which is that link that I think I get a referral, some points when someone signs up because I shared my link. It's like 350 points or 250 points or something. What that does is when you see a site, a place you like that you want to go to, it'll say maybe it's 174 points a night. Like you rate based on your area, they give you a range of what a point value per night would be for your place. That's a really good question. I didn't bring that up. So like mine's 200 and something points a night. So if someone comes to me and I am taking points, they're going to say, would you exchange for points? I want to come for 10 days and say it's 250 points. It's 2,500 points to stay at my place. So they stay in my place. I get 250 or 2,500 points for them staying there. Now I don't go anywhere. That's just a one-way thing. But I don't want to do that. But what if someone's taking exchange points and I have points? Then I can go and say, hey, if you're taking points, I'd like to stay in your place. And they're like, great, that's fine. That's it.
So they would move out.
Or they would have a second place and they're not using it. Usually people who take points, it's a second home.
Right.
because they're just filling empty space for when it's not rented or when they just aren't going to be there. You know, like a lot of people have ski resorts or ski, like if you have cabins in Canada, you know, and you have those winter cabins and beautiful places that you go, and maybe in the summer it's still beautiful, but you're not there that much. You could definitely put that on an exchange site.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
I would think also that the environment, that your location is going to be a big deal. So in addition to taking pictures of your home, right, sometimes it might be what is near your home.
Yes, yes, that is great. And you do want to feature that in your photos, and that there's a section is about my home, and the next section is about my neighborhood or what I love about my area. And you can talk about that, and then show some pictures. Like if you have beautiful woods or scenic drives or whatever the attractions are near your area, let them know about it. Especially if you're in an area that many people don't know about, tell them some of the great things about it, so they go, oh, I'm into hiking, and there's great hiking there. In Tampa, not really necessarily a great place for people. Don't think I'm going to go to Tampa, but sometimes they'll have family there, or they want to go for golf. That's the first exchange we had. The guy reached out to us because he wanted to go golfing in Tampa. The other thing I've had happen is think about things outside the box. Do you have good medical facilities near you? Are there top-rated hospitals? I've had people reach out to me because someone had to go to a clinic in the area and they needed somewhere to stay while their loved one was being treated for cancer or for something, right? So think about what are things that people come to your city for generally. It could be business. If it's business, then pitch that. Use that angle as a way to attract people.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, what a world. I'm going to be signing up.
I would love to know where does everybody want to go now that they're wanting to get back out too. I think that would be interesting. Very informative hearing about this resource.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Christina. Italy. Oh yeah, Italy would be great. Italy's fun. I've done Ventimiglia, Ecuador. I did an exchange in Ecuador in Cuenca. Yep.
Yes, that would be an interesting thing to know. Where
does everybody want to go?
And where have you done exchanges?
I've done a lot of ski resorts because my late husband and his kids were really into skiing, so we would always do a ski trip once a year. So we did a ski resorts. We've been to Reno. We've been to all the Colorado, Park City, you name it. We did Banff once. I've been to Florida several times, Buenos Aires, Argentina before we actually bought a place there. Let's see, Ecuador. I've been to a lot of places in Argentina around with friends, taking friends there, South Africa, Spain. Like in Spain, I've done, let's see, we did Mallorca. Oof, what a great island. Mallorca is beautiful. New Zealand and Australia, I think I mentioned that. Italy. Gosh, I should look back at the list, but there's so many, just anywhere you can imagine. Anytime you're thinking of a trip, like you just want to go visit family. Oh, that's another one. If you have family members and you're going somewhere and you're like, okay, that house is kind of small for us to stay more than a couple days. We've all done this. Find a home exchange nearby. Great answer. Done it. San Diego with my grown stepkids, they had apartments, but there was no room for us to stay. Could we get a hotel? Sure. But what we ended up doing all the time when we went there is we got a home exchange near where they lived. So then they'd come over and hang out, and we'd hang out at the house and do like a barbecue or have a dinner there, because they had little apartments and they really couldn't entertain very easily there. So that's another option. Great way to do family trips. Family trips are wonderful for that. Get a big house for the holidays so everybody can come together. Really good things.
Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds like a movie too.
Morocco. Yeah, Morocco would be great. The U.S. Virgin Islands. Yes, Banff is awesome. That was beautiful. I've been to Croatia and Germany, and Ireland. I have of course, King's in Egypt right now, and I have another friend that's in Egypt right now. Spain is so much fun. You can link up so many different ones together too if you get really creative and do your research better than I did that time. I've stayed in old farmhouses that the water trickles in the shower, and that wasn't fun, but just make the most of it. Yeah.
Terry is asking because a lot of information is shared, have there been any concerns that have arisen for you?
Not really. I haven't had anything. Now, when they show on the map like where your place is, they do that in broad area. So it'll be like, you know, Miami, and then they show like a circle, and it doesn't pinpoint your exact address. You don't ever share that until you've actually committed to something and you know they're coming. Again, that's a lot of work for somebody to have to go and rip you off and go bring a truck and open and get into your house. But the information, data information, as far as like their site itself and data leaks, breaches, that I'm not familiar with. That would be something to ask Home Exchange if that's what you're asking. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been fascinating. Turns out there are a lot of things I hadn't thought about when it comes to home exchanges. So it's been great to really appreciated you sharing all of your experience with us, because it's really quite a new world for me. And we will send everyone a link, Jill's link to homeexchange.com, because it will help her out. She'll get a few points if you do it through her link. So it would be nice to give back to her.
If anybody, I want to say too, if anybody has any questions, I know you have the chat and the blog after, but if y'all want to reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, my profile is I am Jill Collins. You can definitely reach out to me. I'm always happy to share. I love talking about this, and I just love to see people have good experiences with travel. And so definitely feel free to reach out. I'd love to hear from you.
We will also, in our email that we send you later this week, we'll send you Jill's Instagram handle, so that you don't have to worry about writing it down now. We'll send it to you along with it.
That's great. Well, I'm so excited that you all are going to be getting out traveling again, and would love to do whatever I can to support you in that. And I'd love to hear what I'm going to be following on the site, on the site too, and get involved so I can catch up with other things you're up to.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Enjoy it. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Jill. That was amazing.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Yes, once your link comes through, I will be signing up. Definitely.